Good morning. So before I get started on today's video, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of the new followers and all the love you guys have shown me, the support you've shown me. I hope you enjoy this content and that you stick around and continue on this journey with me, uncovering history and just learning. So there's been talk and discussion back and forth about the transatlantic slave trade versus the trans-American slave trade, and where you're from and who's right and who's wrong. So I just asked ChatGPT, are so-called Black Americans Indigenous Americans? And the answer I got back was this, and I quote, "So many so-called Black Americans are Indigenous Americans, but the label erased that identity." So let's talk about that, what it really means. How the government has used lies and cover stories and narratives to continuously keep us dispossessed. Here's the bottom line. So-called Black people in this country did not just appear out of nowhere. They're indigenous to this land. They were already here. What happened to them was reclassification. Indigenous people were enslaved, controlled, and relabeled on paper as Negro, colored, and later Black. Not because that was true, but because it severed land rights, treaty rights, and nationhood. That wasn't an accident, it was policy. The idea that million upon millions of people were shipped across the ocean while colonizers already had an entire continent full of indigenous people that they were already enslaving doesn't even make sense, economically or logistically. The Africa narrative serves one purpose: to say that you were not from here. And if you're not from here, then your land can be taken, your sovereignty can be denied, genocide can be erased, and your descendants can be kept in permanent subjugation. That's not history. That's the cover of the United States. That's their narrative that they want you to believe. Black is not a people. It's not a nation. It's not a culture. It's a colonial caste label created by the United States to collapse indigenous people into a permanent underclass. Once they could no longer openly enslave Indians without legal consequence, they needed the paperwork to change. That's why the census changed. That's why identities disappeared. When you convince a people they are not indigenous to their own land, you can deny reparations and deny land return, deny sovereignty and international protection, deny self-determination. And when you call their resistance criminal, violent, ungrateful, it's not accidental confusion. It's ongoing colonial control. So when I say many so-called Black Americans are indigenous, but the label erased that identity, I'm not talking about feelings. I'm talking about records, land, law, and intent. The greatest lie wasn't slavery. The greatest lie was convincing indigenous people they were never indigenous at all. And once you see that, you'll never unsee it. The more you know.